Look at any process plant. A tank holding liquid. A line across a pipe rack. A pressure vessel at the end of it. From outside they are just steel. But push in close to one small element of that wall, and everyone is doing the same job, carrying internal force. Here is that element. Apply an external force, that is the load. Now cut a section, because that is where the answer lives. The internal force spreads across the cut area, and its intensity, force divided by area, is stress in pascals or megapascals. The element also deforms, and that deformation is strain. Load, stress, strain, three different things. And in 3 dimensions stress is a tensor, with normal components on each face and shear components along them. Stress arrives in families: tension and compression, shear, bending, torsion, pressure is hoop and longitudinal, thermal, residual, and all of them combined. You will learn to recognize each one on a pipe, a pressure vessel and a storage tank, and how to identify stress in practice. Start with direct normal stress. Axial tension or compression gives sigma equals F over A uniform if the load is centric and the section is prismatic. Tension elongates, compression shortens. Direct shear is different, the force is parallel to the cut, and tau average equals V over A, that average is only a starting estimate. Transverse shear in beams is distributed through the depth, peaking near the neutral axis for a rectangular section. Bending stress follows sigma equals My over I. One face is in tension, the opposite face in compression, and the neutral axis carries zero normal stress from bending. A pipe span between supports is a classic case, dead weight and live load create a moment, and the extreme fibers at midspan see the highest bending stress. Torsional shear on a circular elastic shaft is tau equals Tr over J. Shear is 0 on the centerline and maximum at the outer radius, with circumferential sense matching the applied torque. Now consider a thin-walled closed-end cylinder under uniform internal pressure, a straight pipe away from flanges, supports, and nozzles. Hoop, or circumferential, stress is sigma H equals PD over 2T, also written PR over T. Longitudinal, or axial, stress is sigma L equals PD over 4T, or PR over 2T, half the hoop value when the ends are closed. Radial stress varies from about -P on the inner surface toward near 0 on the outer surface. For a thin wall it is small compared with the membrane stresses. Assumptions matter: thin wall, uniform pressure, closed ends, and a location far from discontinuities. Misapply the formulas at a nozzle or support and you miss the local peak. Remember the directions: hoop runs around the circumference, longitudinal along the axis, and radial through the wall thickness. A pressure vessel adds geometry the simple cylinder does not capture. The cylindrical shell and a 2-to-1 elliptical head carry membrane stress in regions away from junctions. At the head-to-shell knuckle, at nozzles, and at supports or saddles, local bending and peak stresses appear. Those peaks are real, but they are not what the basic thin-wall hoop and longitudinal formulas describe. Design and fitness for service practice separate membrane stress remote from discontinuities from local discontinuity and peak effects. Do not paste membrane formulas onto a nozzle neck and call the result complete. Sketch the vessel honestly: shell, heads, nozzles, and supports, then ask which region you are assessing before you pick an equation. An atmospheric storage tank is not a pressure vessel. Liquid head produces hydrostatic pressure P equals rho GH, increasing linearly with depth. Circumferential shell stress therefore rises toward the lower courses. The pressure triangle on the wall is the governing picture for the filled condition. Separate threats include shell compression and buckling from vacuum or wind, settlement-induced bending near the bottom, and roof or support loads. Keep the distinction clear: a low-pressure or atmospheric tank is governed by hydrostatic and environmental effects, a pressure vessel is governed by sustained internal or external pressure design. Thermal stress is restraint of free expansion. Unrestrained, delta L equals alpha L delta T and the stress is 0. Fully restrained in a one-dimensional elastic idealization, sigma equals E alpha delta T. A temperature gradient through a wall creates self-equilibrating bending stress even without external load. Anchored pipe and nozzle thermal loads are everyday plant examples. Residual stress is different again. Welding and forming leave a self-equilibrating field that exists with no external load. Near a weld, tension often sits in the weld and heat-affected zone, balanced by compression farther out. Qualitative, not a universal map. Real equipment sees pressure, weight, thermal restraint, and nozzle or support loads together. Resolve the tensor to principal stresses, and recall that maximum shear relates to the Mohr circle of that state. For ductile yielding, von Mises equivalent stress is a scalar comparison metric, not a physical directional stress. If shown, it is the root of 1/2 the sum of squared principal differences. Pressure equipment practice also classifies stresses as primary, secondary, or peak. Primary is load-controlled membrane or bending that must balance external load. Secondary is displacement-controlled, thermal and fit-up. Peak is a local fatigue driving increment at notches and toes. That classification is a design and assessment language, distinct from the tensor components themselves. How do you identify stress in practice? Step 1. Define the free body, the loads, and the constraints. Step 2. Select the section and resolve forces and moments. Step 3. Apply analytical equations only within their assumptions. Step 4. Measure. Strain gauge rosettes convert strain to stress through the constitutive law. Track displacement and temperature. Use residual stress methods where they apply. Step 5. Use finite element analysis for complex geometry and discontinuities, but verify mesh, boundary conditions, load path, and stress linearization or classification. Do not trust color plots blindly. Step 6. Read the evidence carefully. Mode 1 cracks tend to open perpendicular to the maximum principal tensile stress. Yielding, buckling, and deformation patterns add clues, but appearance alone does not uniquely identify the stress state. Treat every conclusion as a hypothesis that still needs a consistent free body story. Bring it together on a pressurized pipe span. Internal pressure contributes hoop and longitudinal membrane stress. Dead weight between supports adds bending. Thermal expansion against anchors adds secondary axial and bending. A branch nozzle or support introduces local concentration. Visually separate each contribution, then combine for assessment, principles or von Mises for yielding checks, and primary-secondary peak thinking for design and fitness for service. The same discipline applies when you plan inspection, evaluate fatigue, or discuss stress corrosion in creep contexts. Stress informs risk, but a crack photograph alone does not deliver an exact stress number. Remember the distinctions. Stress is internal force intensity, not load, not strain. Name the mechanism: normal, shear, bending, torsion, pressure membrane, hydrostatic in tanks, thermal, residual, or local peak. Use the right formula only inside its assumptions. On pipe, vessel, and tank, draw the geometry correctly and stay honest at discontinuities. Identify by free body reasoning, measurement, and verified analysis, then act through design review, inspection planning, and fitness for service. Jarasa Consultation Services. Integrity, inspection, reliability.